Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be solving the October-November 2021 paper 2 variant 1. So let's start solving. Question number 1, which characteristics of all living organisms are needed to release energy for growth? Now we do know that the releasing of energy is actually done by the respiration inside of the cells, which is in the mitochondria, and the energy is actually ingested into our bodies using nutrition. So we're going to be choosing D for this question. Question number 2. Two animals have an identical sequence of amino acids in one of the proteins found in their cells. What does this indicate about these animals? Now, we can't say that they are eating the same types of food because food doesn't have a constant amount of or a constant amino acids sequence, so this will not work. Now B, they have not been exposed to substance that causes mutation. Now, even if they get mutation, they will not be affected in the same way as like the other animal. So different animals are affected in different ways. So this can't also be our answer. Now C, they must be members of the same genus. Now, even if they are the same genus, they are distantly related. They're not like closely related. So this can't be our answer. And our answer would actually be D. They share a recent ancestor. That's because if you share a recent ancestor with someone, then you're closer related to this person than if you share the same genus with them. So our answer will be D. Number 3, which row shows the structure on the outside of a plant cell and the location of chloroplast in the cell? Structure on the outside of a plant cell is actually cell wall and not cell membrane. Cell membrane is for the animal cells and not for the plant cells. Now C, we're going to be choosing between C and D actually. So they're saying the location of the chloroplast is in the cytoplasm or in the vacuole. Now our answer of course will be C, not in the vacuole, because here's the little sketch of a plant cell. It looked like that. This was the vacuole, and this was like the chloroplast around it, like that. So it was actually located in the cytoplasm and not in the vacuole. Now, question number 4, the length of a mitochondrion in a photomicrograph is 15 millimeters. The actual length of a mitochondrion is 3. What is the magnification of the photomicrograph? Now, for a question like that, I always like to draw the I-am triangle. The I-am triangle is a triangle that will help you to know what types of calculations you should make in order to get the magnification or actual size or the image size. Now, for the magnification, we're going to be using the M over here. The M stands for magnification, which is always equal to image size, in which it is given in the question, divided by the actual size. So the image size in this question is 15 millimeters. Now we have to I have to point out to you that you have to always convert this millimeter unit into this unit over here, so they can be both the same units. You can't divide millimeters with this unit. So we're going to be converting it by multiplying by 1000. That's going to give us 15,000. And then we're going to be dividing by 3. Now give me 1 second, I'm going to be calculating this number. It's going to be 5,000 if you're going to calculate it on a calculator. Now the answer over here of course is going to be C. Now question number 5, the diagram shows some cells. Of course, we know these are the ciliated cells that are located in the trachea and the bronchus. So let's see if any of the trachea of or the bronchus are located in the options. Now we've got C, bronchus, so that's going to be our answer. The ciliated cells, you can't say they're found in the alimentary canal because not all parts have the ciliated cells, not all parts have them. So you have to be more specific, and they are located actually in the bronchus and the trachea, as I said. Question number 6, which statement about turgor pressure is correct? It creates a pool in the xylem. Now, this is incorrect. This is actually for the transpiration pool. So this is incorrect. We're not going to be choosing it. It allows sucrose and amino acids. Now, this is incorrect. This is actually the process of translocation and not tertiary pressure related. It is a pressure that is only found in cells containing chloroplasts. Now, this is not only found in cells that contain chloroplasts, it's actually found in any cell that has a vacuole or has a cell wall. So, of course, some cells, plant cells, may not have chloroplasts, so that's also a thing to point out. So our only answer is going to be D for this question. It is the pressure that helps to provide support for the plants. Now, question number 7. Which words complete the definition of diffusion? Diffusion is the net movement of particles from a region of their higher concentration. So we're going to be choosing between A and B over here to a region of their lower concentration down the concentration gradient. Now, the up one, this one, is for the active transport, not for the diffusion. So we're going to be choosing B for this question. Question number 8. The bases on the strands of DNA molecule have the sequence shown. What is the corresponding sequence of bases on the other strand? Now, we do know that the A pairs with T and the C pairs with G. So we have to be pairing both A's with T's, and then the T is going to be pairing with A, the C is going to be with a G, and then the A is going to be with a T, and again C. So we have to choose something with the double T's in the front, so that's going to be D. Now, question number 9. In a photosynthesis experiment, a plant is left in bright sunlight for several hours. A leaf is then removed from the plant and tested for starch using iodine solution, which I have explained in the paper 6 tips and tricks video, which I uploaded today. The diagram shows the leaf from the plant that was used in the experiment. Which diagram shows the results of the experiment? Now, they said the outer area over here is green, this area, all of this area is green. So this is the part that's actually going to be stained blue-black. And then the area in the middle is going to remain orange-brown. That's because it's white and it didn't react with the iodine and it didn't contain any starch. So we're going to be choosing something that has blue-black on the outside and in the inside it's orange-brown. So let's check our key over here. The key says if it's black, then it's going to be blue-black, and if it's white, then it stays brown. So we have to choose something that is actually blue-black from the outside and white from the inside. So that is exactly option C. So we're going to be choosing that. Now, number 10, an experiment was carried out to investigate the effect of pH on enzyme action. The graph shows the results. What are the labels for the x-axis and the y-axis? Now, we know that, as I explained in the video, in the paper 6, whatever comes in the x-axis is actually the independent, and whatever comes in the y-axis is usually the dependent variable. So we have to see over here what is the dependent variable and what is the independent. The independent variable is the pH, so we are sure that it's going to be on the y-axis over here, so we're going to be choosing between A and B actually. Now, y-axis is going to be the rate of reaction. That's because it's the dependent variable, so our answer will be A. Number 11, 4 test tubes were set up as shown in the diagram. In which test tube is the starch digested most quickly? Now, we're going to be choosing the water bath with temperature 37 at, this is the optimum temperature for the enzyme, and also it has more frequent collisions between the substrate and the enzyme. So we're not going to be choosing from here at all. We're going to be choosing between C and D. Now, we're going to be choosing the boiled amylase, or we're going to be choosing the actual amylase that's not boiled? Of course, we're going to be choosing C because this one is boiled, which means it's denatured and it doesn't work as efficiently. So our answer for 11 will be C. Now, question number 12. Two similar leaves are set up in the test tubes as shown. One is exposed to light while the other is kept in the dark. After a few hours, which color would the hydrogen carbonate indicator solution be in each test tube? Now, we know in the light, the plant actually produces oxygen because this is the waste product of photosynthesis. Now, in the dark, it actually respires and releases carbon dioxide, and this is as a result of respiration. So, we know that oxygen is alkaline, and we know that carbon dioxide is an acidic gas. So, we know that the hydrogen carbonate indicator will turn yellow if it's acidic. It will turn into red if it's a neutral, which means it's not acidic or alkaline. Now it will turn into purple if it's actually alkaline. So over here, we're going to be looking at the test tubes in which photosynthesis occurs and which respiration occurs. And the one with respiration, which will have carbon dioxide, will turn into yellow, and the one with photosynthesis oxygen, which is an alkaline gas, will turn into purple. So over here, we do know that there is photosynthesis because there is light and it's not blocked out like this one. This one is blocked out, which means it's actually respiring. So over here, it will be purple, and over here, it will be yellow. So let's see which of the options match what we just said. It's actually B, so that's going to be our answer. Now, this is very important, and you should know this stuff that I just wrote right now. So please keep that in mind whenever you're solving a question like that, because these questions have started to appear in the recent exams. Now, question number 13. Which food is the best source for vitamin C? Now, we know, of course, vitamin C comes from oranges, so that's going to be our answer. Bread, meat, and milk. Meat is for the iron. And yeah, so we're just going to choose oranges over here. Number 14, the diagram shows part of the human alimentary canal and associated organs. Which structure produces hydrochloric acid? Now we know that hydrochloric acid is actually situated in the stomach, so we're going to be choosing that. Number 15, the diagram shows a large food molecule changing into smaller molecules, which is process X. Now, process X is actually, as you can see over here, these molecules were joined together. As you can see, they were joined over here. Now, after process X occurred, they aren't joined together anymore, as you can see over here. So what is exactly that process? We're going to be saying that it is actually digestion, because digestion breaks down large food molecules into smaller food molecules, or it breaks down, like as you can see here, they were joined together and now they are unjoined. So our answer will be C. The diagram shows section of a leaf and a root. Which two label structure identify the xylem? Now we don't know over here, and we're sure that over here 4 is the xylem in the root, and this is the phloem actually. So we're not going to be choosing anything that has 3. We're going to be choosing between A and D. Now A, it's saying that this one is the xylem. Of course, this is incorrect. This is actually the palisade mesophyll cell. So this is incorrect. This is actually the xylem over here because of the thick lignin in the cell, and it has lignified thick cell walls. So this is actually going to be the answer, D. 2 and 4, as I said, 4 over here, this is the xylem, and over here also this is the xylem because of the thick lignified walls. Now for 17, what holds the water molecules together during the transpiration pull in the xylem? Now, we know that water moves in the xylem during transpiration pull. It moves by cohesion, it moves by adhesion, it also moves by something called the transpiration pull. So we're going to be choosing something between these stuff. And over here we've got 17b, cohesion. Now 18, which component of the blood produces antibodies? Now we do know that lymphocytes are the not red blood cells, they are the white blood cells that secrete antibodies, and the antibodies actually destroy pathogens. So we're going to be choosing for this question A. Now 19, what is the function of the septum in the heart? Now, as we know, the septum is the structure in the heart that is separating oxygenated blood between the non-oxygenated blood. So it keeps like the heart, it separates the left side and the right side of the heart. So we're going to be choosing that it separates the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood. So over here, let's check. Yeah, so it's C over here. So 19 is going to be C. 20, what causes the air pressure in the lungs to decrease during breathing in? Now for this question, we're going to say like what exactly happens during the breathing in. So let's check the options. Contraction of the external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. Yes, this happens during the breathing in. So let's check also the other options. Expansion of the lungs causing a decrease in the volume of alveoli. This is incorrect. Outward movement of the ribs and upward movement of the diaphragm. Now, the diaphragm actually moves downward, it flattens, so this is incorrect also. Now, higher pressure in the atmosphere than in the lungs causing the alveoli to expand. This is incorrect. The alveoli doesn't actually expand. So our answer will be 20. Now, question number 21. Some features that help to defend the body against pathogens are listed: mucus, skin, and stomach acid, and finally phagocytosis. Which features can prevent pathogens entering the body tissues? Now, we do know that mucus is a form of chemical barrier and also stomach acid. Now, skin is a mechanical barrier, but still it helps the entering of pathogens into the body tissues. Now, phagocytosis is when the pathogens are actually in the body tissues, so this will not work. This is when the pathogens are in the body and it's detected by the antibodies, and then the antibodies actually mark the pathogens for the phagocytosis to take place. So this is all when the pathogens are actually in the body tissues and not when they are outside the body and they are prevented from actually entering. So our answer over here will be B. 22, in a balanced chemical equation for aerobic respiration, what are the products? Now, in aerobic respiration, we know that glucose enters and also some oxygen, and then it's converted into water, and it's converted also into carbon dioxide. So the products, we're going to be choosing the water. We know that its chemical form is like that, and the carbon dioxide is like that. So we're going to be choosing these two, which is actually D. Now, question number 23. The diagram shows the structure of part of a kidney tubule and the associated blood vessels. Which substance are normally present in the filtrate at X? Now, for this question, we're going to say that, of course, we all know that glucose is present in the filtrate, and then it's reabsorbed in the later on in the process, and it's completely reabsorbed, so there is 100% reabsorption of the glucose, but this is not over here in the filtrate. This is later in the process at the Bauman's capsule and these stuff. So also, of course, there's urea, which is excreted by the urine. So both of the substances are present, so it's going to be D. Now, question number 24, which situation is a voluntary action? Now, you have to take care of the word voluntary over here. Now, sometimes students are in a rush and they will answer it as involuntary because that's what they are used to answering. But no, you have to please take care and read the questions and don't answer in a rush. You have 45 minutes. I guess that's more than enough. If you're going to spend 1 minute in a question, of course you're going to have time. So please don't answer in a rush and read the questions very carefully. So we're going to be choosing something that you do with your conscious level. Of course, this is raising your hand to answer a question. 25. When we read a book, our eyes accommodate to view near objects. Which statement is correct when viewing a near object? Now we know when we are viewing near objects, the ciliary muscle actually contracts and the suspensory ligaments actually relax, but we're not going to say relax. We're going to say it's slacken, which means they are relaxed, and tense means they are contracted or tense again. So these are the terms you should use when you are talking about the suspensory ligaments, because you can't say anything contracts or relaxes unless it is a muscle. So please take care of that as well. So of course, we know when the ciliary muscle contracts, it becomes like something like that, and when it's actually relaxing and the suspensory ligaments are contracted or they are tense, it becomes like that. It becomes like thinner. So we're going to be choosing A because, as I said, the ciliary muscle contracts, suspensory ligaments are slacken, and lens is thicker. Now, also, you have to know that whenever the ciliary muscle contracts, then the opposite happens with the suspensory ligaments. They can't both be contracted, or they can't both be like relaxed or whatever. So they are like antagonistic muscles, but we don't say that. It's just like a tip for you. Just remember that. But you can't ever write that they are antagonistic muscles, so please take care of that. 26. How does the body increase blood glucose concentration? Now, we can't choose insulin because insulin actually decreases the blood glucose levels, so we can't choose that. Now, glucagon released by the pancreas triggers the liver to release glucose. Now, we do know that glucose is the opposite of the insulin hormone, so this is like correct. So our answer is going to be B. And we know that it's also released by the pancreas and not the liver, because the liver is where the glycogen is stored, and this is where like it's going to get the action of hormones on it, and it's not going to be like the one that releases the actual hormone glucagon. So please take care of that over here as well. Now, question number 27, which definition of a drug is correct? A substance that increases the rate of a chemical reaction. Well, this is the enzyme and not the drug. So, of course, this is incorrect. Now, a protein that functions as a biological catalyst. Now, again, this is the enzyme and not the drug. So, of course, this is incorrect. A substance taken into the body that modifies or affects chemical reactions in the body. Well, this is, yes, the definition of a drug. If we're going to check it in the syllabus, this is exactly what's written. So our answer will be C. D is not going to work because this is the definition of a hormone, not a drug. 28. A seed is placed and grown on a rotating disc as shown. Which diagram shows the appearance of a seedling shoot after 7 days? Now, we notice over here that the seed is constantly rotating. That means the auxin hormone is actually like that on the leaf. It's like evenly distributed. It's not on one side like that. because of the light coming over here. As we know, the oxygen actually accumulates in the dark shady areas. So if the light is coming from here, it's going to accumulate over here. If the light is coming from everywhere, which is what is happening when it's rotating, it will be over here and over here and over here, and it will cause cell elongation in all these cells, and it's going to be evenly distributed. So we're going to choose the one that will grow upwards like that. If it's evenly distributed, it will grow upwards. So the answer will be A for this question. 29. Which hormone stimulates the release of an egg from the ovary during the menstrual cycle? Now, of course, we all know that the LH hormone is the hormone that is stimulating the ovulation to take place in the menstrual cycle. So, number 30, some descriptions of different human cells are listed. Which descriptions are correct for the nucleus of a human gamete? Now, we know the nucleus contains 23 chromosomes because it's a haploid cell and not a diploid cell. So, haploid nucleus, we're going to be choosing that. And it's also containing one set of unpaired chromosomes. So, our answer for this question will be 2 and 4, which is actually C. Now 31, which adaptive feature is only found in the female gametes? Now acrosome, this is actually for the sperm, so this is completely irrelevant. Flagella is actually in the sperm as well. Jellycoat, yes, and the nucleus containing chromosomes is actually in both, and not just in the sperm or in the ovum. Now 32, a man of genotype AB and a woman with genotype BO have a child. What is the chance that the child will have the same blood group as one of its parents? Now let's do the cross together. Now IB and IO, IA and IB. Now this is the Punnett Square, which you probably did in the paper 4 questions, the genetics questions. So over here, they're going to get IB and IA, and they're going to also get IO and IA, and they're going also to get IB and IB, and IB and IO. Now, they said that they want the same blood group as one of its parents. So that's going to be if IB and IBB, this is the same as IB and IBO, and of course the AB. So this is 3 and 4. Now next question, which statement is correct? Genetic variation can be caused by phenotypic variation. Now this is incorrect. Mutations can be caused by phenotypic variation. Now of course not, this is caused by genetic variation. Phenotypic variation can be caused by genetic variation. Well, this is absolutely correct, so that's going to be our answer. The diagram shows a section through the leaf of a water lily. Water lilies are hydrophytes, so this is the most important thing we have to know. They have larger air spaces than most of the other plants. How does this adaptation help the lily to survive? Now, it has larger air spaces, which means it can help it in buoyancy and it can help it to float. So, of course, as we took in the hydrophytes adaptations, that when it has air spaces, it will help it to flow because it has more air space to, float on the water. So how does this adaptation help the lilies to survive? Increase the number of chloroplasts? Of course not. Makes the leaf buoyant enough to float on water? Well, yes, this is what I just said. Provides more space for the xylem and phloem? Now, this is incorrect. Speeds up gas exchange between the leaf and water? Now, this is completely incorrect. Now, 35. A species of insects usually have pale colored wings. This helps to camouflage them on pale colored tree trunks, a few of the insects in the species have darker colored wings. After a number of years, the tree trunks become darker in color due to environmental changes. The insects with dark colored wings have become more common than the insect with pale colored wings in the species. Which process causes this change in the proportion of insects with dark colored wings? Now, we know that this example was actually in the natural selection lesson. Like, if as they explained here, if it's dark, the tree trunk, then of course there will be more dark butterflies. That's because it will help it to, hide and not be as visible to its predators. So of course we're going to be choosing over here natural. Now, question number 36, the graph shows the growth curve for a population of bacteria. Which row is correct? Now, we know that P is actually the lag phase, and Q is the log phase, and this is the stationary, and this is the death phase. Now, we have to see which of the options over here comply with what I just said. Now, the stationary phase, I've said that it's actually R, so we're going to be choosing between B and C over here. Now, the lag phase, I've said it is P, so our answer will be actually B over here. And also the exponential phase, which is otherwise known as the log phase, is Q, which is just over here, and S is the death phase, so that's just over here as well. 37. Bacteria can be genetically engineered to produce human protein. What happens during this process? Now, over here, they're saying option A, the human plasmids are isolated using restriction enzyme. Now, of course, humans don't have plasmids, so this is completely incorrect. Ligase is used to create sticky ends in the bacterial plasmids. Now, this is incorrect because ligase is actually what joins the plasmids and the human DNA. So this is incorrect. Restriction enzymes are used to create sticky ends in the human DNA. Now, this is correct. Human DNA is isolated using ligase. Again, this is incorrect because it's actually isolated using the restriction enzyme. Okay, so human insulin is a protein that can be made by genetically engineered bacteria. This involves the transfer of genetic information to bacteria. The diagram shows cells and parts of the cells involved in this process. What is the correct order of transfer of genetic information? Now, first of all, we're going to be starting with 3 and not 1 because this is where a human cell, we're going to be extracting the DNA from it. So we're going to be choosing between A and C. Now, we're going to be also continuing with the plasmid because we're going to be taking from it apart. So we're going to be using the restriction enzyme, so we can add the part of the human cell DNA into it. So we're going to be actually moving from the human cell into the plasmid. So our answer will be A for this question. Now, you can't choose ribosome for C, that's because first you're going to be going to the plasmid to add the DNA, not into the ribosome. So we add the DNA into the plasmid and not into the ribosome. So our answer is A for that reason. Now 39, what is an effect of an increase in the use of insecticides? Now insecticides kill insects that cause competition in the plants and eat their nutrients. Farmers use insecticide to prevent competition and increase the rate of growth of their plants or the crops that they are growing. So decreased competition between crop plants and weeds. Well, no, that's because insecticides works on insects and not weeds. Decreased number of extinctions, well, no. Decreased numbers of pollinators, well, this is correct because pollinators are basically the insects that come and pollinate the plant. D, decreased use of fertilizers, well, this is not really correct, so our answer for 39 will be C. On number 40, the graph shows changes that occur in a lake during the process of eutrophication, which we all know is caused by the overuse of fertilizers by the farmers. What are the labels for W, X, and Y? Now we know that W is actually the producers because, as you can see here, they were increasing, and over here the concentration of oxygen was also increasing, and when they died, when they decreased, number X, which we can identify now as the decomposers, increased, because over here when they decreased, when the plant's producers decrease, the decomposers that will decompose them will increase. Therefore, they will be using aerobic respiration, and you know aerobic respiration uses oxygen and glucose as for the aerobic respiration to work, as we all know. So the oxygen also will decrease over here, because as the decomposers increased here, the oxygen concentration actually decreased here. Because why? That's because of aerobic respiration. So our answer will be, as I said, Y is going to be oxygen. In the concentration area is going to be oxygen, and X, which is this one, is going to be decomposers, and W is the producers, so that's going to be our answer. Now that was the end. There's no more questions. Thank you all for watching. Please support my channel by subscribing and liking this video and sharing it with your friends if you learned something new or if you enjoyed it. Thank you all, and good luck with your exam.